Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. We're going to be starting on the 4-door cab today. See if it'll fit on this frame or not. I mean, I know it'll fit, it's just a matter of what you got to cut to make it fit. So what we're going to start off with though is I'm going to get some stuff cleaned up here. I'm going to get this gooseneck hitch off. Yes, we're reusing it, but it's crusty and nasty, and I just want to clean slate it. I'm not going to keep these side brackets anyways. I'm going to make my own bracket to clean it up better. So take the gooseneck hitch off, take the fuel tank out, pull all the wiring out of the frame because we're not using it. Probably pull the fuel lines out of it. And I may go on ahead and clean up some stuff on the motor. I may go on ahead and pull a bunch of the engine harness off of this because it's getting a standalone harness as well. Pull off, like, these are for the radiator shroud and stuff that were on it. Pull some of those things off. Just clean some stuff up the best I can, just to make sure it's gonna fit good without all the junk on it. So that's the plan to start with. Yes, I'm gonna end up cutting off some of the cab mounts and stuff, but I don't want to do any of that until I know where this 4-door cab's gonna mount. The only thing that's kind of a bummer is the cab mounts were cut through on this. What do you think, Max? You gonna help me rebuild those? So I'm gonna have to rebuild these front cab mounts so that it has something to mount to up front. And I'm probably also gonna go on and put the fenders and stuff on this so that we can get the wheel well lined up. So got a lot of prep work to do before we can, get the cab hovering over top of the frame, but that's part of it. So let's clean up some stuff and get rid of some of the unnecessary things and see what the cab's gonna look like on here. I'm finishing up getting this wiring off of here. Had Bryant show up today. He's gonna help me today. He didn't have work today, so I told him, well, come here and I'll put you to work. So he's gonna work on taking the wiring and the fuel lines and some of that stuff off the frame while I finish this up. And then once we get stuff cleaned off of here, we're gonna put the front end on that truck and get it on the lift and try to get it set on this frame today. Well, the cab's sitting down there kind of where it wants to be. I'd like it to go down some more though. We did cut the front frame rails off already, which you've seen. And I was kind of not happy that the cab mounts were cut through this, but now that I kind of see where the factory Dodge mount is, I may be able to just build something over to that and it may work out just fine. So I did cut a little more of the floor out back there because it was hitting on top of the transmission. But based on the wheel, I think we're pretty close front to back where we need to be. And I was excited because this back looks like it would fit nicely too, but it's sitting on it. And I want this all down about 4 more inches. I'd like this to be down in that area. So I guess this whole cross member's got to come out. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to get the plasma cutter out and get that dude out of the way and see if we can at least get this cab down where we want it. Well, I got these plasma cutted off, but I didn't start your video, so you didn't see me plasma cut them off. But the pieces are there and there, so it's been cut off. So we're going to lower this thing back down and see if we can get it down where we want it now. Well, it looks like the cab fits pretty good. I went on ahead and jacked it back up in the air so that I was going to try to work on some of this stuff back here. I was waiting to hear from Jared about if we were going to stretch the frame or what he wanted to do. But we are going to stretch the frame. It is actually going to stretch roughly 3 feet. That's, I think, the plan. So yeah, this dude's going to be long, but it is what it is. It'll be cool because you'll have the tanks and the stacks with it, and the big bed in the back will be flat. It'll be pretty cool. Pretty excited about that. But I talked to a buddy of mine where I get truck parts from, and I think what we're going to do is I'm going to get a frame section, and I'm going to section it onto this one because these have these slip joints in them here where the two pieces of the frame slide together. So if you cut this piece out and slide this piece out, then you can put another piece in. So if I get another frame that I can get this center piece out of, then I can cut this frame here and here and then slide the new piece onto here and then add this and then slide the other knuck one back of there, if that makes sense. That'll shove all this back. So that's kind of my plan for this. It's going to make this thing a school bus, but to get it to look right, I think that's what we got to do. And Jared and Todd both agree. So, but I think I'm going to call her quits for tonight and go in a little early tonight. And I'm going to go down to Aaron's tomorrow and get that stuff so we can get the frame stretched back out. So once I get that done, then I can get the cab down and mounted. I just didn't want to do the cab mounts until, you know, we stretched it and knew what we were doing with it. So one step at a time, but we're getting close. So, well, we just got back from Aaron's place and we got all kinds of goodies. Man, it's bright out here. So we have a little engine stand thing because he said it's going to rot away if you don't take it. So this is perfect to set a Cummins motor down in. It sets both sides of the oil pan, and that way they're in there and easier to move around. Here's our frame section down there. I got some different springs too. I'll show you why here in a second. And a new set of rollers because the other set of tires I had to put on, you know, projects to move them around, I actually sold them because I didn't need bighorn rollers to be moving stuff around. So I went on ahead and got a new set of wheels and tires to roll stuff around. So something I noticed on this truck, which is what I'm going to show you now, these bottom springs have a little bit of a down droop to them, which tells me that this truck has been loaded a little heavy in its previous life, and I didn't like that. And knowing, you know, what kind of stuff this truck's going to be doing, Max is flying in and out. But knowing what this truck's going to be doing, I didn't want to leave those springs on it, just knowing it's going to be hauling stuff. So I got these other set of springs out here, and these are actually cabin chassis springs, so they're a little heavier yet. And these springs only had like 50 or 60,000 miles on them, is what Aaron said. So good set of springs. I also have drop shackles so that we can get the back end a little lower because these trucks are raked pretty good from the factory. So just to try to get it leveled out, get it looking a little more level. So I know when I built my truck initially, it had drop shackles on the back. So that's everything we got. So I'm gonna get all this stuff unloaded and we're gonna cut a frame and try to get it sectioned and lengthened today. That's the plan. Well, we got all that stuff unloaded. So let me show you this frame piece here. Another very clean piece of frame that I got here. So as you can see, this is where that slip joint is. So this piece is actually, you know, slid inside of there. You can't really tell, but so my plan is I'm gonna take the plasma cutter and cut around these edges and try to release this weld. So maybe I can get this piece out on both sides And then here's the lap on this side as well. And I'm gonna try to do the same thing and pull this piece out, because all I want is this center. And then I'll show you what I'm planning on doing here. I'm gonna come right behind where this seam is. I'm gonna figure out what this depth is and cut the frame there. And then the piece I just showed you will then slip onto this piece, and then it'll also slip onto the other piece behind it, and it should be just as good as factory. At least that's my thoughts. So, well, let's get that piece up on the table, and let's try to get those slip joint pieces out and see if we can get this frame cut in half. Well, we got the frame rails all cleaned up, and I've done a little bit of measuring, but I'll show you what I've come up with here. So the flare in this starts right there where that yellow mark is. So those are about 4 inches that they stick inside. So if I come over here and give myself a little room, and we measure from tight against that, and we come back to 12 inches. No, that's not true. So we measure back from here, we got 12 inches right here, where that yellow mark is. But obviously I need 4 inches for the slip. So if we actually go to 8 inches, which is right there, that would be how far it would slip in, and it would still have, you know, a little bit of gap. So that's my plan. I'm gonna go tight against these brackets here and go 8 inches back, and that's where we're gonna cut the frame. That way it'll be able to slip on here, and it can slip on here. So the 4 inches here will be there. And then I kind of think, I don't know, Dodge did them this way and they were fine, and they would just welded them together. I don't know, I may, just because the truck's already long, I may, you know, plate over top of this on both of them just to make sure it's not going anywhere. I overkill everything, but I'd rather it not go anywhere. The time has come. Time to cut another truck in half. I don't know why I'm so nervous. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, but I don't know. Literally cutting the frame in half, but here we go. This is what I have figured out. All these measurements are perfect from this, exactly 8 inches on both sides. And I pulled a tape from here to this edge of the body mount, and it's identical on both sides. So that tells me that once I put the pieces in and slide this back, I can pull from here to that same point, and as long as both are the same, then I know I have it where it should be. And I pulled some other measurements for some other stuff too, so I have double and triple checks to it. So the only thing I'm going to do before is I'm going to probably weld a piece across this top or in the middle or something, just to keep these bars from doing anything like this or spreading together, moving apart. So I'm going to do that real quick. Probably do it on both sides, probably over here and there, just to make sure that everything stays true, and we'll cut this thing in half. Well, we have 2 pieces, so we'll see if it'll go back together. It's not funny, I know, but yeah. So we're gonna fit these pieces in there. We're gonna see how they fit as far as flapping them in. We'll get everything measured out, get everything squared back up, and leveled and tacked and make sure everything looks happy, and we'll burn them bad boys in.
Nice.
Well, we have one piece again. Those went in nice and tight, which I'm glad they did. I actually broke my come along. It didn't survive that, so ratchet straps for the win. But you just put tension and smack them around and they work their way in. These went a little further than what I thought they would, but I'd rather them bury themselves in there nice and good. So happy with how it turned out. I did all my measurements from up here to back here and cross-check. I mean, I did everything. It's perfect right where it is right now. Everything's level side to side. It's still raked down forward. I laid a big piece of bar across the whole thing and looked for gaps. It's not doing this in the middle or anything. It's exactly where it should be. I'll come over here and show you guys, let you guys be the judge. Move my chair out of the way. What do you think? I think we got it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on ahead and burn in, I don't know, a couple spots on each one. Take the straps off, and then tomorrow, I know I could probably just leave it the way it is, but with it being stretched and I just feel better, I'm going to have some pieces bent that will cup over and come halfway and halfway on the bottom, and I'm going to burn them in. They'll lap about a foot past each side, and I'll put one on each side. So we will encapsulate those and we'll encapsulate those. Yes, it may be overkill, but guess what? It's not going to go anywhere once that's done. So I just want to make sure it's good. So that's the plan. We'll get them tacked in so that I can take the straps off, and then we'll get them burned in tonight. Set the cab back down and see if it looks any better. Obviously, I need to put some bracing across. I'm going to leave these in here for now. But yeah, I need to put probably 2 cross braces through here just to strengthen stuff up a little more. But got them burned in all nice and heavy. I don't claim to be no master welder, but I don't think it's going to come apart. But like I said, I'm going to probably do a foot on each side. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces and just plate that, both of those. And both of these, just to make me feel better, because that dude is long. My goodness. I think it's going to look sweet, though. So let's set this cab down and see what it looks like. Oh, my goodness. I guess that's what you call a stretch. I think it's going to look awesome. It's definitely got enough bed now. We got plenty of space to put stacks and tanks here. And that's going to have a really nice flatbed deck plate on it, and man, I'm super excited about that. I think this back just turned out great. Yes, I know I need to go back through and put some cross members in because I only have this one, and then it's the transmission cross member. So yeah, I probably put 2 across here, and I think I talked about boxing those. Gonna do that. Put these other springs on here with the drop shackles, get this lowered down, and yeah, we're going to have to move the engine back and then build the doghouse back in it, you know, all the stuff. So But we're definitely getting somewhere with this. Happy with the progress from today. I used up some of my morning having to go get the frame pieces and some of that. So, but at least I got that done. So happy that the truck's sitting back together and it's not in about 1 million pieces anymore. Well, another day out here in the shop. This thing didn't finish itself overnight and the snaps don't work. So I guess that means I have to do it. But I got my frame plates, got them all back. So I need to trim up. I got to take these mounts off both sides. I got to plasma cut them off and clean the frame up. And then I can get my plates on both sides. The only thing that's going to be a pain is that cross member temporary that I put in there is now in the way. So gonna have to take that one out. This one is probably about perfect to not be in the way, but that one's gonna have to come out. So gonna have to do some cleaning up and some prepping to get ready, but I want to get those on tonight, and I may go on ahead and clean up some of this, or I don't know, we may end up pulling the engine tonight. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but this is my first priority. So get this done and then we'll move on to something else. Well, I got a lot of that done. Man, it's a lot of welding, a lot of hammering and fitting and all that stuff. But I can't do these centers yet because I got to pull this out. And I'm kind of beat for the night, so I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to do that tomorrow. But tomorrow I'll have to probably weld a new one in up a little further. Or, yeah, probably up just a little further. And then I'll cut this one out, and then we'll plate both sides of that. And then all that plating will be done. The frame will be nice and strong. We'll get this cab back down and probably either move the motor or mount the cab. I'm not sure. Probably move the motor first. But gonna have to figure out how far we're gonna move that. And just continue on with getting the cab mounted and then building the doghouse and all the stuff. Do it all over again. But it's coming along nicely. Happy with it. It's gonna be stretched, but I think it's gonna look sweet. Another morning out here in the shop. Gonna finish up getting the frame boxed in. I already moved the one mount, or not the mount, the one cross member piece, whatever you want to call it. Cut the one out and put another one on back, so now I can plate these insides on both sides. So I'm gonna get those done, and then we're either gonna move the motor or mount the cab, or combination of the two, probably. So let's get with it. There we go. We got everything boxed in, nice and strong. Not worried about that going anywhere now. So now I'm gonna set this cab back down, start with that, and we'll do a little measuring, see if we can figure out what we're gonna do with the engine, and I might do that first so that it's in its proper place, build a new cross member, move the mounts back, all that stuff. And then we'll set the cab back down and try to build some cab mounts. I think I'm gonna try to build off of this back piece here, kind of like I do with the rest of them. Probably use one of these Dodge mounts, one of these, and on each side, and to mount the back. And then the front, I haven't cut these mounts off yet because they're fairly close to maybe working. Like I said before, this cab has the front mounts were cut through, and I don't have the piece that we normally cut off the International frame to go in it anyways. So I'm gonna maybe try to build a custom piece off of these that maybe I can utilize this factory front mount. I don't know, that's my thought. So well, let's set this cab down and make sure everything's centered and happy, and we'll determine how far that's gonna go in the reverse mode. Well, we got the cab back down on here. It's close to where it's gonna be. The front may be a tiny bit low. I don't know, it may be okay. We're in the vicinity where it's gonna be. So what I'm gonna look at here is, let's see, this is gonna sit in there about like that is where the radiator, or where the grill's gonna be. So that's all the space I have. So I'm gonna measure what I have from this to the tip of my, or to the front of this pulley here. But I can't do that and hold my phone. So I'll do that, I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Well, just kidding. I got talented for a second somehow. I don't know how that happened, but so we got roughly 3 inches. That's the gap that we have at the moment. And obviously that's not enough for a radiator and an intercooler. I'm gonna go show you mine, and we're gonna put the same radiator, intercooler, and fan setup that's in mine in this one. So we're gonna go measure mine and see how much space we got. There it is. Man, where'd all this snow come from on it? Huh, it's kind of weird. There's snow all over the step. Man, it's all over the front bumper too. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Anyways, so if you look at the way mine is, there's not a whole lot of light, but you can see I didn't make mine real tight. I know some people make them extreme tight, but I want to be able to still work on them without having problems. So if I go from up there to the back edge of the fan's motor, we're about 9.5 inches is what that setup is. So you ready to go outside for a little bit? He's been locked in the house here because he likes to chase sparks and stuff. So I guess we're not gonna have him out there when I'm welding and grinding. So come on, let's go to the barn. Well, based on our measurements, we had 3 inches here we can use, and we need 9.5. So
Few moments later.
6.5. So I'd have to move it 6.5 inches back, but everything would be tight up against everything. So I think that's where I come up with the 10 inches with mine, because it gives a little bit of fuzz room up here, a little bit of fuzz room between the pulleys, and at the end of the day, I think that will be a little nicer. So probably gonna end up moving this one in that 9 to 10-ish inch range as well, which for mine wasn't a big deal. The biggest thing I ran into was the AC compressor here, because you can see if you move it back, it gets into the frame here. So I had to notch into my frame to allow the AC compressor to have space. So probably have to do that again on this one. But I guess we'll get the cab back off of this and get the engine pulled out of it and cut us some mounts and move everything back. We got the engine out of this thing, and it's sitting here a bare frame. So now we need to work on moving the cross member and moving those front mounts back. I'm gonna try something different this time. I've just always taken a bazillion measurements off of where exactly those are and just bring them back and redo them. I'm thinking about this time, what I might do is still cut those out obviously and just get a measurement on the height that they are, and then come back here and go on ahead and move my cross member back. I'll cut these off completely. I'll use the center piece again, but I'll just make new brackets back here and go on ahead and put the transmission mount in, and then grab the engine, set it back in on the transmission mount, and then get my angle right that the engine's tipped and bolt the engine brackets back on the engine, and then just build over to the frame. I don't know, could be a good idea, could be a bad idea, but I'm always trying to find a way to do stuff better and make it nicer and all that. So let's go on and get this cross member out. That cross member there has to come out too. and we'll get these cut off and move the transmission mount first, and then we'll go up and mess with the engine mounts. Well, I got all those brackets off there and cleaned up. I figured I'd save you the time lapse of grinding all that off. That's probably my least favorite thing, is cleaning everything up, but at least it looks so much better instead of having nasty, places where things were welded on. So that's about where that cross member needs to be. I have my AutoCAD here, and we're going to make us some brackets that come down. If I can set this down, they're gonna be on the frame and come down and loop down and have holes in them and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna cut some out with our paper here and get them traced out onto a piece of metal and plasma cut them out. Well, we got that transmission cross member in. It's all welded in and plated. Should be good and strong. We got the engine mounts cut out and got that all smoothed up as well. So I think I'm done cutting and grinding for a little bit. So my plan now is that I went on ahead and put the pieces of the mounts back on the engine on both sides and attach them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove this back out side a little bit so I can get the engine back in the lift arms, pick the engine up, roll this back forward, drop the transmission mount in and bolt it at least loose so it can slide back and forth in those slots a little bit. But then I'm going to figure out where the motor needs to be side to side. I got a measurement from the bottom of the motor mounts on each side to know where they need to be, and then I'm just going to build brackets over to the frame off of the mounts that I have. So if I had a plasma table, I'd just cut new ones, but I'm not fancy enough for that yet. So we're going to do it this way. But that's the plan. I want to have that engine in there before the night's over. Have it. Engine mounts are tacked in. I mean, it is, sitting in there under its own weight. I mean, they're holding obviously, but they need finish welded, and I'm going to box the tops and the bottoms just to make them, nice and strong. The transmission cross member is completely done, but I'm just happy to have these engine mounts in. Just another thing to mark off the list as far as getting the engine set. The hard part's getting it, back to where it was originally as far as the angles and all the craziness. So glad that hard part's done. It's just a matter now of cutting some metal and welding some stuff in. So shouldn't be too bad to finish up those mounts and stuff. But we're getting towards the tail end of this video because it's Thursday night. It's like 1:30. Well, actually, it's Friday morning. It's like 1:30 in the morning. So probably done enough for tonight, and I hope this will be enough content for this video. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? You like it stretched? I think it's going to be pretty cool. So it is going to be long, and it's going to be a heck of a unit pulling that big 40-foot trailer around, but I'm excited to see it done. I think it'll be cool once it's completely done. Got the custom cut wheels on it, the whole back plate done, it painted up real nice, and it's going to be pretty sweet. So I want to come out here and remind everybody that this cab is still sitting here. If anybody wants to buy the whole cab, or I don't know if I want to sell a bunch of parts off it yet. If somebody just wants the whole cab, I'd rather somebody just come buy the whole cab the way it is. The bed's still out here too. Like I said, this corner's the worst spot on it. I mean, it's not terrible. And the bumper, had two people that wanted it. Both of them backed out on getting it, so this bumper is available if anybody wants the bumper. So shoot me a message on here, or get a hold of me on Facebook or something, and I can get you pricing on the stuff. And no, that's not another project for the channel, but I had a guy that had a truck. He wanted me to fix the frame on it for him, so a little bit of rot behind where the gooseneck plate was, so I'm gonna be fixing the frame on that and putting a flatbed on it for him. But yeah, so I guess there's one thing left to do, and that's figure out who won the Jaxwax bundle. The bucket of stuff's all sitting here. Got all the goodies inside of it still, and all the spray nozzles and everything. All your rags and all your wash mitts, all that, drying towels, all that stuff's in that box. So I'll have to look. I think I had like 300 some entries, 350 again or something like that. So I think I'm gonna ask Alexa again to pick a number, and then I'll go through the comments and figure out who's that number. And if you're watching the video, or I'll try to get a hold of you, and we'll get you some Jaxwax stuff. Well, we had 306 entries, so we're going to ask her to pick a number. Alexa, pick a number between 0 and 306.
Here's a number between 0 and 306. It's 251.
251. That's going to be... I got a lot of counting to do. I'll be back in a second. I'll tell you who's won.
A few moments later.
So I did all the counting, and number 251 is Eric Moore Designs. So Eric, you are the winner of the Jaxwax bundle. I'll try to reach out to you on Facebook, see if I can find you that way, and get you some Jaxwax stuff. But I just thank all you guys following along with this build. It's going to be a cool one when it's done. Please come to UCC, all you guys, and check it out. Should have my build, Todd's build, and the Jaxwax build, maybe all in the Jaxwax booth there. So you'll have to come by and say hi. I'll have some t-shirts and stuff with me there, and some stickers, and maybe I don't know what I'll have there at that point in time, but I'll have some merchandise for you guys if you're looking for something. I did get word my website is almost done, so we will be launching that here before too long, and there'll be shirts for sale and license plates and just all kinds of stuff for you guys. And there'll be ways that you can contact me. You can set up consultations if you want to call and talk to me about a build, anything of that nature. So just excited for this. I mean, I'm excited to have an office. This is pretty cool. I've never had an office before, so it's pretty neat to have this just little corner here that I call mine for doing paperwork and keeping some stuff in, and got some trophies and cans and stuff. I don't have as many as Hannah Wheat does, but I got a few. So once again, congratulations to Eric Moore Designs on winning the Jaxwax bundle. It's going to be loaded with some cool stuff for you, so I'll get that out to you as soon as I can. But I think that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.